Have you ever felt like you were standing in front of the right door, but it just won't open? Or maybe you've been asking the universe, God, source creator, for one more sign before taking the next step. This is exactly what every card said this week I pulled. They all pointed to the same powerful message that you've been given the signs. It's up to you to take that step forward. No matter how messy or unprepared you feel like you are, the sign has already been given and arrived. Now it's up to you to walk forward into that threshold and trust that now is the time. Now is your time. And also trust yourself enough to take that step through the threshold. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome if you're new here. I am Sylvia, EFT practitioner and quantum alchemist. I use oracle cards to guide me for the energy of the tapping that we do each week. And it's so funny that it's all about action. And this week will be June 29th through July 7th, energy report, EFT tapping recalibration, tap along. It really was about your divine team has given you all the signs. And it really is up to us, like I said in last week's video, to take that first step. And last week's video, they showed me the full card, which is right behind me in that candle. And they showed me a couple of movies about that trust step, that trust and faith step that you will be held, you will be guided. But first, you have to walk through the door that they provided. That's the biggest part. I think as humans and our ego mind getting a hold of us, man, we can spin ourselves out so quickly and create all these stories for ourselves. And it's nothing like that. It's about the messy action forward through the threshold of the door that's there. And if you're new to EFT, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And it basically helps by us using our fingers and tapping on acupressure points. I'm having a hard time speaking today. Words are hard. While helping us shift subconscious thought patterns and beliefs, patterns, or programs, and calm the nervous system at the same time. So when we're stressed, our body innately goes into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which can activate the adrenaline and cortisol in the body. And EFT's been around a long time. Well, when I got certified like 10 years ago, it had been proven 30 years prior to have been a scientifically backed modality, if you would call it, by shifting psychology patients quickly by taking them from fight, flight, freeze from and phobias and addictions into coherent nervous system regulated being that could hear the psychologist and their processes. So the research has shown that it can significantly reduce stress while providing emotional regulation, even clarity, and nervous system balance. I think it's a combination of who I am and also having this modality of why people come to me. But I do get a lot of people in life transitions. I guess their tower moment, their dark night of the soul, the transformation that they're going through. It feels like everything is falling, but it's really the next chapter. I just show up and I use the cards to blow my mind with the message and just take what resonates and leave the rest. But I think I love crystals. They really are helping me with my words today. I was really having the hardest time getting my words out. So we take a quick moment and get our body, take a moment to get our, I spoke too soon. Take a moment to notice our body, what feels tight, heavy, stiff, or stuck. And then we notice where we're holding tension within the body. And if we had to give it a number 0 to 10, 10 being the most intense or most stressed or most dense or most tight, what would that spot be from a 0 to 10? 10 being the most like maxed out, like that you could possibly feel in the body. And the reason why we do this body check-in is because energy will hit different layers of the body. So we have more than our physical body, we have our mental, emotional, spiritual body. A lot of times the thing will seed from all the layers of the body, then show it in a physical aspect of our body in the form of a symptom. So I like people to go into the body and see what feels tight, tense, stuck, and don't give it a story or don't give it a judgment. Just notice what feels tight, tense, stuck, and then give it that number, because we're going to take a note of that so you can see how EFT can shift you. And we do 4 tapping rounds if you're new here with my videos. But of course, you can rewind and do it again. That won't hurt you. It actually helps you. I also encourage you to breathe throughout and to drink plenty of water, because it is energy work. So what we do after is we open a crystal portal, and you can use your finger or a crystal wand. I just happened to grab my selenite wand today. And we open a crystal portal where we send the energy down, any discordant energy that we're getting rid of, counterclockwise. And we call in our guides, our angels, our guardians, our ascended masters, ascended ancestors. I call in Archangel Gabriel to help me with my words today, because they seem to be a little tongue-tied. I don't know why that is. Kind of been challenged to start this video today. Family stuff, and also making sure everybody's entered the house so that my dog doesn't go crazy in the middle of a video shoot, which typically happens whenever anybody enters or leaves. So we're going to start with a karate chop point right here at the side of the hand. This is all based on the cards that I pulled, the energy of the cards that I'll pull. And if you stay to the end, I will reveal them to you. Even though part of me keeps waiting for one more sign to take my next step, I honor where I am and I remain open to trusting myself. Even though I'm looking for that one more sign to take my next step, I honor where I am and I remain open to trusting myself. She's a loaf over there. She won't leave my side. Honestly, if I were to shut her out of this room, she would barge right in, and then it would be even more noisy because you hear the door slamming to the wall. Even though part of me wants certainty before moving forward, because mental minds want that, right? We want to know the plan. I think we're just so brought up to be in fight flight that we want to know the plan, that certainty before moving forward. I honor where I am and I remain open to choosing what feels most deeply aligned and most fun and passionate to my soul, right? What lights me up. And crystals light me up. Crystals are my buddies, my allies. That's why I always cover at least one crystal every week that you can work with. And for those of you guys that have a hard time with words, I do recommend Amazonite and Chrysocolla. But that's not the card that came forward for the crystal of the week. And we'll go over that at the end. Even though fear feels sometimes louder than my intuition, I honor where I am and I'm open to trusting my inner knowledge. Yeah, fear can get loud, and on some days more loud than others. And how do we deal with that? Knowing that fear is not real. The best thing to do is to go in your heart and realize that we are more than this physical being having a human experience, right? Eyebrow point. Part of me keeps waiting for another sign. We do love them. I love magic and miracles and signs and synchronicities. I will have to admit to that. And I'm sure anybody who watches my videos loves them too, because I love to get my mind blown. Side of the eye. And that's right where your eyeliner wing would be. Part of me keeps looking outside of myself for certainty, right? Those signs, the winks from the universe, the angels. But we love that. My angels told me to put this crown on for my video. So I've been obliging, because otherwise I've had to stop the video and put the crown on. So now I've been just trying to remember it. And maybe I'm afraid to make the wrong choice. I don't know what part of us learned wrong from right, when as you learn this path, nothing that's meant for you will never pass you by, right? Under the nose. I don't think there is a wrong choice. Maybe I've been standing at the threshold without moving. Maybe we're frozen, we see the door, the threshold. But we're in between, we're between taking that next step and the path through the threshold. So it's like the void on the chin. And maybe we're overthinking instead of trusting. So maybe I'm overthinking instead of trusting myself. Does that sound familiar, friends? Any overthinkers out there? You might have to like the video if you're an overthinker. Collarbone, and this is like the nubs all the way over to the bra strap. I haven't really described the spots. I've just been showing you. And maybe, yeah, you feel like you can maybe get something wrong. Like I said, there's that perception that we can do something wrong on our path under the arm. And maybe I've been stalling to make sure there's certainty or that I feel certain, right? It's that hesitation at the top of the head. But maybe I already know more than I realize. Because if you're having like a conversation with a friend, you would be able to have a complete conversation about the thing that you already know because you're comfortable and it'll just flow from you, right? Because it's comfortable. That's the thing you're passionate about. Eyebrow point right here at the divot of the eye. Now you can go either left or right hand. It doesn't matter. For my lefties, what if the signs have already been appearing? Have they? What kind of signs have you been seeing? What kind of signs have you been hearing, feeling? Many people start with feeling and then the rest. I feel like a lot of people start as a feeling. What if my intuition has been guiding me all along? And you notice that in retrospect, right? What if my intuition has been guiding me all along? Under the eye. And this is like if you're looking straight ahead, it's right below the pupil. Perhaps I don't need every answer before taking one small step forward. And you can ask your team too, if you talk to your angels every day, what's my most aligned best step? Like, what's going to bring me passion and joy and what feels good and fun? And basically, when you do all that, you collapse time and you do get your project done. Just one little exciting step at a time, right? Under the nose. Clarity grows because we chose to move, right? Take messy action. I've heard that many places. You probably have too. Chin, right at the little divot in between the lip and the chin. I allow myself to trust what feels so deeply aligned. I allow myself to trust what feels so deeply aligned. Collarbone again. I just have to try and avoid the microphone that's on my chest. Otherwise, it's kind of loud when I start tapping on it with my nails. I don't have to know the whole path before walking it. That's kind of what the message was, right? Remember the full card last week? It's up to you. Don't need to know the whole path or the whole journey of that path. Just take the next step. So I think this is a matter of us taking that step, but also into the threshold of the door that we know. Under the arm, I trust each aligned step reveals the next. Maybe that's the mantra, right? As you take each step, maybe that's the thing you say. I trust each aligned step reveals the next step. And then top of the head, the door may already be open. It's waiting for you to realize it's open because you're spinning out in here instead of just moving. Anybody? Any overthinkers spinning out in here before you've actually taken the step because you're trying to make sure in the mind that you have the certainty of the entire path when it may not even be anything what your mind's coming up with. It's probably better. Eyebrow point. What if I already know my next best aligned step? And sometimes it can get loud in the mind. So you do have to stop and breathe and recalibrate, get into your heart, and it'll tell you what is the next step. The heart always knows. Side of the eye. What if trusting my intuition opens the doors that I couldn't yet see, which is true? Like what if getting into your heart and taking deep breaths allows your intuition to tell you what you couldn't yet see, give you that aha just by breathing a little bit and taking that breather before you take that step? And what if abundance of aligned opportunities begin to unfold as I step through the threshold before me? So, like I said, it's like God, source, universe. They see things from a higher vantage point. And what if they have all the pieces to every puzzle that you're going to step on with every step? And it's just going to blow your mind because it's so amazing. With the magic and the miracles of your path, right? Under the nose. What if every courageous step reveals the next one? That's another one. What if every brave step I take reveals the next one? That's a good one. And sometimes just tapping some of these out helps you before you take that next aligned step, right? You're balancing that nervous system and then taking aligned steps towards your passion project. What if everything in life has been preparing me for this very moment? It's a big one. What if everything in life has been preparing me for this very moment? I feel like it has been. Collarbone. What if I'm more ready than I realize? What if you are? Under the arm. What if choosing the most aligned step changes everything? What if choosing your most aligned step changes everything? Top of the head. What if my next step is the one I've been waiting for all along? What if it is? We won't know until we step through that threshold, right, friend? You and me can hold hands. Sound like a deal? Oh, we can do it together. We'll hold hands in the quantum, stepping through this threshold that we're all feeling, the verge of the door that we're standing in front of, right? Eyebrow point. Keep breathing as we send all the dense, discordant energy down the chute, our recycling bin. I call it the bank chute. I see it as like a vacuum portal that's constantly running. Side of the eye. I choose to move with clarity. Use this EFT tapping video as many times as you need to get yourself calibrated for your next aligned step. That's what they're for. Use them as many times as you need to. Speed me up if you want to, especially when you start to memorize the lines. I allow my intuition to lead under the eye. I allow my intuition to lead under the nose. I let go of the need to have perfect certainty, right? We have no need to be perfect or have perfect certainty. Chin, I welcome aligned opportunities. I welcome aligned opportunities. Collarbone, keep breathing. I choose from my joy. I choose from my passions. And I choose from my highest alignment rather than fear. Under the arm. I think my dog might be dreaming. So when she's dreaming, sometimes she starts barking in her sleep. So if that's the case, we'll see her. And sometimes they look like they're running when they're sleeping. It's so funny. They start barking and running, and their whole body looks like it's moving, like they're doing something very active in their dream. Under the arm, I choose joy. I choose alignment, and I choose the path that most lights me up. I want that for you. I want that for you, and I want that for me, right? Top of the head. Keep breathing. I'm getting so warm from the energy work. I don't know about you. Energy work makes me hot as the facilitator. I courageously stepped through the threshold with trust. Remember, we're holding hands, you and I. I courageously stepped through the threshold with trust. And then we end it on the third eye. It is done. It is done. It is done. So be it. So it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Woo. We're taking a deep breath. Sending it all down. And sometimes if you tap in, you can feel your angels helping you. Like I always feel like feathers wafting down any dense discordant energy down for that, just to make sure we get everything that doesn't belong to us down and more. Because they know, right? They know what we need to get rid of. And we're going to do a final body check-in here in a minute. Let's take one more deep breath because that felt really good. Go back to that spot. What is it at now from 0 to 10? Is there still stiffness, tightness, dense energy there? What feels different? What feels like it has shifted? What number would you give it now from 0 to 10, member, 10 being the most intense? And then make sure you note it in the comments below. And then we're going to get our crystal point and we're going to close the portal. And we're going to go clockwise on the floor, and we're going to close the portal. We're sending the intention that any dense discordant energy goes down in this crystal portal to be transmuted into, from dense discordant energy of whatever we were carrying before we started, to transform it into peace, love, balance, harmony, abundance for all, bliss, joy, ease, grace, miracles, magic in every moment. How about that? And allowing our angels and our guides, our ascended masters and ascended ancestors to allow anything that we miss to move through that portal and close it. I like to put a hatch lid on it and then seal it up, thanking them for taking it away and closing that clockwise. It might look backwards on the camera, but I'm closing it clockwise, even though my cameras might be flipped. Okay. And we thank our angels, our guides, our ascended masters, our ascended ancestors for your service. And that's it. Now we're going to go to the cards. So the card reveals, this was really funny. And when I was picking, I don't know if I've worn it on a video yet. When I did my angel numbers necklace, I have a gold 444. I was undecided between a 222 and a 444 because I see 222 a lot. So this one, I was like, interesting. 222. To me, 222 has always meant like collaboration, right? This is about connections, friendships, romantic relationships, family, compromise, commitments, and trust. How do I move forward towards the life of my true calling? And what would I do that makes me happy? What could I do with enthusiasm that would keep me going forever? And then number 202 is the void. Maybe sitting before that threshold before you, that void space before you took that next step, maybe spinning in the mind a little bit. But the void is a longing, ambition, moving forward, thinking, could be stress because you feel like you haven't acted, right? It says you have more control over your life than you realize. Learn to act on your interest and to turn things around. This gets even better with time. It's time to make new friends. Again, that two energy, right? And chill out, have fun, and be open up to the world around you and go outside or take that step, basically. But the 222 is really what lights us up. What are our natural passions? How can they naturally guide us to the next step forward? Do that. But the 202, I thought it was really interesting. You know, it's funny is that this angel card deck had a duplicate of the 2002. And I was like, wait a minute, the void, I got it twice. Like, I was like, holy moly, but they actually had a different photo. So it was like a misprint from the card company, had a misprint of a different photo, but the words were about the same, but just a little bit different. The void reminds us what it feels like to be in that empty space before the invitation to move forward through that threshold and then reconnect with ourselves and what really matters before we take that next step. But sometimes it gives us a little bit of an emotional wobble, right? But you really do have influence over your life and your perception of your emotions as these denser, what feel like ages between chapters of stepping forward really can be, you know? That void really serves its purpose, right? It really does. It's almost like a Mercury retrograde, if you think about it. It does give us a chance to like recalibrate and rethink because life is moving really fast right now. So take a breath with those voids. And then also think, okay, where have I been waiting instead of taking that next small step? Right? Because a lot of us can do that too. We will spin with the spiritual excuse of it's not, I'm just not aligned right now. I don't feel the energetic pull towards that right now. But sometimes it's our ego mind being really, really witty and keeping us from our soul purpose and mission here. Right. So just make sure that it's not the latter. And then sodalite. I have sodalite here. This is a sunset sodalite pyramid. I have it by my bedside, so I brought it over here. And here's another one, which I love. Sodalite is when the mind is quiet and your inner wisdom tends to be easier to hear. Words. Sodalite gives you intuition, well-being, and peaceful sleep. It's the stone of enhanced insight, allowing you greater understanding of any emotional issues that you're working through. So if you have any sleep restlessness, this would be your friend. sodalite. And then the next one is divine matrix, reminds us that nothing is random. Synchronicities, they call it, I love the way they call synchronicities on this card. They call them God incidences instead of coincidences. God incidences. And everything is interconnected and interwoven. And we may not see the whole higher perspective, but our team, our angelics can see it, God can see it, our ascended masters can see it. We may not see how all the pieces of the puzzle are going to connect with walking through that threshold, right? But they have every puzzle piece lined up, and all that we have to do is take each step. And as we take each step, I hear like clicking of the puzzles into the puzzle board. And then Kathumi reminds us that the wisdom that we're seeking isn't outside of us. You already know the answer that you seek. Trust what you know. We get that. We've gotten that for several weeks. Trust what you know. Your soul already knows everything and all of the answers. So Kathumi is here to remind us that we already know. And you have the cloak of the wisdom. If you just fully trusted your inner wisdom, don't let the mind or fear hold you back. Lead with love. Lead yourself with love. Because if you asked your inner wisdom, you took a deep breath and you fully trusted yourself. You asked your higher self, your inner wisdom, what would you already know? What could you talk to everyone about at the coffee shop? People you know, specifically, probably even strangers, you can talk about something. I'm pretty sure of it. If you watch me, you probably could talk. All right. This one here is portal. That's the threshold. Remember, doors are opening. You decide to move forward and then you get the reward. It's also called the wild card. Timing is aligning. So if you've been asking for a sign, perhaps my video is that. Perhaps the doorway is right here, friends. You and I are going to hold hands through this threshold together in the quantum. And we're going to walk through. We're not going to let our ego minds, our minds, spin us out with all these, I need the whole plan, bull-larky. We don't know the next plan. We just need to take that next trust step, right? Like the fool over here behind me. You see him right here? And see right there, like the fool. Take that step. What if we're ready? The door's open. Now it's just for us to walk through. Trust our cloak of wisdom, like Kathumi said, right? Okay, and then this one's pretty cool. Building your world, creation, expansion, and networking. I've been invited to a few fun podcasts that I'm looking forward to. So, building your world reminds us that ideas become reality through action. So, building your world, ideas become reality through action, right? It's a beautiful time to get creating. What's been brewing inside of you? Because you might be called upon for expression and expansion and networking with other people who would love to have you on their podcast or show. So, what have you been creating? What has been living inside of your heart already? And then this one, endless opportunities. Look at that. Every bubble is an opportunity. They're all butterflies. I've been seeing lots of gold and yellow monarchs. Anybody been seeing butterflies this summer? The other thing I've been noticing is dragonflies. I love dragonflies, and they always come out this time of year, and there's always a ton of them. I always worried about like getting hit by a car because they're like literally in the street. Endless opportunities reminds us that these opportunities already exist. If magic and miracles are happening in every single day, it's just for us to notice sometimes, So if you chose to approach your day from love and your heart rather than fear, what would that day look like? And you trusted that every aligned step reveals the next step, what would that feel like? You wouldn't have the mental like spin of the mind throwing you off your path because you're thinking, I can't take the next step because I need clarity of the whole path. What would you choose if fear was no longer making that decision? What would you choose to do if you went and did whatever lit you up and felt exciting in this moment? because that's going to bring you to a whole different frequency, right? And align you with those that are at that frequency to meet you there. So all the opportunities are endless. This is number 23, which is also number 5, which is a change, endless opportunity, change. Take and make those moves. If this EFT and energy report resonated with you, thank you for your patience and my tongue tied moments in the beginning. My tongue seemed to have warmed up with time. Oh my goodness, what a day. Usually I don't have those problems. So maybe it was something that was keeping me from filming today, but I got it done. And if this resonated with you, I would love for you to tell me in the comments your number. And then also, we're holding hands, and I would like you to type, I am ready to step through the threshold. Comment below with, I'm ready to step through the threshold or the door. Or, I trust my inner knowing. Like Kathumi said, you already know the answer. You already have that cloak of wisdom. So I trust my inner knowing. I'm ready to step through that threshold. I'm ready to step through that portal, that door with Sylvia. So, and then the other thing that really, it was like, I don't know why all of a sudden it just became an aha moment after, I don't know, 10 years of doing this work, that I was looking back at my client reviews and I noted that I work with healers, facilitators, coaches, intuitives, entrepreneurs, leaders, and space holders. And generally, the reason why they come to me, as I said in the beginning, is that they're in the middle of a huge life transition. They're in the front of that door. They're what feels like in the void, or maybe a tower moment transition type uncertainty. That's when they usually reach out to me to have me sit with them and hold space for them. And they generally are the people that everyone else turns to. One of my recent clients came to me seeking clarity and was blown away. She actually didn't know what was going to happen. She just thought we were going to chat, but um, she was blown away because at the end of the session, she felt seen, supported, uplifted, and more confident moving towards her path and moving forward. And then I think that that was all I really needed to go, hey, I do get a lot of those people. I get a lot of the people that are holding other people. I get a lot of the people that are the person that everybody goes to. And so it's an honor. And if you're standing in front of that door and it feels like it's ready to open, but you're still struggling to see that next step and you want that clarity, maybe book a sacred clarity session with me. And the link will be down below in the comments. And I'd be happy to sit with you because that's exactly the work that I do. I just hadn't really put the 2 and 2 together until like a week or 2 ago, which is so funny after 10 years. But I do support people and I have a ton of modalities, but it's almost like I can see the puzzle pieces that they're missing. I also can see like the dots if they're putting together a dot to dot puzzle, and I can easily see the part that they're missing in order to be like, oh, here you go. And, or I've even used the analogy of being a janitor with the big old ring of jingly keys, and they're standing in front of the door, and I just hand them the key, and now they have unlocked it. Now that's up to them to walk through it. But if you'd like to go deeper and you need that kind of support, all of that, it'll be down below. And the one thing I would like to express is that you don't have to carry it all alone. I get a lot of people who do or feel like they do need to, and you don't have to carry it all alone. I'm definitely here for you if you need help or assistance in that way with a sacred clarity session. Until next time, bye for now.